What are you doing?
Painting.
Are we gonna put Sasquatch somewhere in here? Talk about that?
Yeah, we're gonna put Sasquatch. I can't tell you where.
You're not gonna tell me where?
I can't tell y'all where. You gotta find the Sasquatch.
All right.
Sasquatch can't be found in the wilderness till now.
Have you seen Sasquatch?
Have you seen Sasquatch?
I didn't ask. I asked, have you seen Sasquatch?
Nah, I mean, it's just like the abominable snowman. Both of them are related. Nobody seen them.
They're
but
not
they
even the same.
know they're out.
They're not even the same color, dude. That's like saying Black Ross and Bob Ross are related. one was clearly adopted. All right, let me get back to work.
Oh, yeah.
Alright guys, so the super basic stuff you're going to need here is a 3/8 inch ratchet, a number 2 Phillips screwdriver, a 6mm Allen socket. You could use a different type of Allen as well, but this is what we have. They work really good. And you've got your 10mm, that's your one that's always typically lost. You've got your 12mm socket, 14mm, and 17mm socket. These are the only tools you're going to need to put this entire setup together. Next, we're going to talk about the hardware. So this is going to be a 12mm axle. This is an NCY product, really nice product. It's going to replace what you have. This is not a required item, but this is what we're going to include in the kit because it's new, and it's always nice to replace it with new parts. So you've got your 12mm axle here, and what you have here is your Ncy rotor bolts. And where those bolts go, right here. We've got a 200mm Ncy rotor. This is larger than factory. And your 3 rotor bolts are going to fit in just like this. Now, these rotor bolts, you want to make sure to thread lock these in the wheel. So these guys can come loose just like a factory rotor bolt can come loose as well. So you want to make sure to get those guys thread locked. So our kit consists of these components. And then we've also added four metric bolts that are required to bolt the adapter to the caliper and also the adapter to the leg itself. So over here, you've got your Ncy forks. We also have these in black as well. So these are factory height forks, really nice quality. They bolt right in. They come black and silver or all black top to bottom. Last but not least, you've got your billet axle sliders. These are not required. We chose to put these on this bike just for a little bit of bling on the front end. And the most important thing here is your corn dog. This provides protein and energy to keep your stamina up at a high level. This is actually a Carter endorsed corn dog. We don't include this with the kit, but we feel it's vital to the proper installation of this. And then we also have gloves here as well. Not required, but if you want to protect your hands or you have soft hands, this is what you need. So we've gone over the parts, we've gone over the tools needed, so let's go downstairs and get started.
So we popped off the front fender, just a couple bolts. We took off this front panel as well. That gives you a little bit more access in here. And then from here, we're taking off, we are doing a caliper. We're gonna throw a bigger rotor in it. So we popped off the caliper bolts. Those are 12 mil. This is 14 and 17 for the axle. So we're gonna pull the axle out and then we're gonna detach the forks at the top. And those should slide right out with these bolts that clamp them in and pop the forks off.
All right, so once you get your forks on, you get them in place, you're gonna line them up like this and you've got your caliper hanging here. So what you wanna do is install your rotor bolts loose, and the reason for that is once you get it mocked up here, if it's tight, you're not gonna be able to get your caliper on. So what you wanna do is you're gonna take your speedo gear on this side, install it like so. You're gonna flip it around, take your spacer, install your spacer on the other side, take your Ncy axle bolt, take one of the nuts off over here. So then what you're gonna do is just take this, roll it into place, nice and slow. You're gonna line this space, I'll turn this a little bit, up with this tab right here. What that's gonna do is locate the speedo gear so the speedo gear is not spinning around. And these legs, we actually drill them out because we're running 12mm. That's the reason for the metal shavings, which you won't have on yours. Just lift this guy up here. Sometimes it can be a little bit awkward, but it always fits. So this side's in line. Get the axle started on this side. roll this around, line it up so. We've got the NCY forks on. We've got the brakes installed on this bike. So what I like to do when I do disc brakes, I like to set the entire thing up, make sure the whole thing clears. This rotates nice and smooth. It's not getting locked up on a bolt or anything like that, getting hung up, nothing's dragging. And then what I do is I take it all back apart and Loctite it. Don't forget to, if you're gonna do it this way, don't forget that second step, which is taking it back apart and Loctiting it, because I've seen these rotor bolts come out, and what happens is if you're driving, that rotor bolt will come out and contact the fork or contact the adapter here, and the wheel completely stops 100% and you're eating dirt or asphalt or whatever it is you're riding on. So make sure you Loctite all this stuff. I can't stress that enough. Also make sure, well, with this guy, you're not gonna have any problem with clearances or whatever, because we've already done this. We put the whole kit together. We verified everything works properly. So with this kit, you're gonna get the brand new caliper, which is nice. You're gonna use your stock OEM brake line. You will need to bleed your brakes, which is very simple. That's a whole nother topic, but it shouldn't take you more than 20-30 minutes to bleed the brakes max. So a note on bleeding brakes: don't get your brake fluid on your plastic, your paint, your wheels, anything like that. It will destroy all surfaces. So actually there was some on the panel yesterday, a little bit that got on it, but don't get brake fluid on your stuff. It will wreck your finishes. It does fine with kind of like anodizing and stuff, doesn't seem to mess with it that much, but powder coat, paint, plastic, it will wreck really fast. So again, kind of how it turned out, we just used the stock tire that was on just because it's in good shape. So we've got the legs on and everything together, so we're gonna go ahead and Loctite this and bolt everything together and go about our merry way.
You have been selected by one of our 5-star resorts. Are you single, married, living with someone, engaged?
Can I take your wife on vacation? Because she doesn't like you anymore. She likes me better because you're a scam artist and you suck at life. So
she's a little baby of 6 months.
Wait, you're married to a 6-month-old? Dude, that's creepy. That's really creepy. How does that work? How do you marry a 6-month-old? You marry babies? Dude, you married a baby. That's disgusting.
You fucking piece of shit.
That's all you got? Wait, you married a baby and I'm the bad guy? What the heck? Chris, would you keep it down?
Sorry. Way too loud.
Yeah, you're being too loud. All right, so this bike, we're gonna get rid of all the handlebars up here. So what the first thing you wanna do, you're gonna pull this front panel off, which we already have off because we were doing the front disc brakes at the same time. And you've got a bolt and a nut right here that fits through the stem. That's gonna clamp your bars to the stem, to the shaft here. So once you get this out, then what you need to do is take off your master cylinder, your bolts here. You've got to take off your lever. So basically everything has to come off the handlebars. You can just disconnect all of your wiring as well for the time being. You can put this all together afterwards, but the goal here is to pick up this whole entire assembly, get it off, put the clamp on in the bars. So the first thing you're gonna do is take this cover off. You're gonna remove this bolt, and that allows this guy, as you can see, now it's loosened. So the bar clamp is loosened from the stem. So once you get that part done, you need to take everything else off to get these bars off. It's a bit of a task, but it'll make a really big difference. So once you get all your connectors out of here, and you get your master cylinder off, you've got your throttle off here as well. What you're gonna do is lift up all your wires like so. And I just reconnected my blinkers. So I took them off the plastics, but I just reconnected them just to keep the wiring all intact. A little bit of a pain in the butt, but what you're gonna do now, lift up the bars. Work it out like that, and your bars are out. So once you get your bars off, get your plastics off, the next step is install your stem. And you've got your 2 bolts here, tighten the stem. Depending on which one you use, a few different styles. NCY makes one, Straight makes one. We're gonna use this just because we have it here. So you're gonna tighten these bolts down. This just slides over in place of the stock location. Once you get this tightened down, it's already squared up because it has a locating pin in the center. Then you're just gonna install your bars and then put everything back together. Easier said than done, but it's really not too bad. I went ahead and got rid of the blinkers here. So what you can do on the Buddy 50, they've already got you set up there. So this is the wiring that runs up top for the blinkers. If you take this wiring and you follow it down, you're gonna see these guys, these connectors here. And what's cool about this is they are made to connect to these right here. So all you gotta do, unplug these here, and these become your blinkers. So same on both sides. You've got this, it's just taped up. You just pull that tape off, like so, and you got room. Plug the red into the red, plug the white into the white, and then you've got blinkers down below. All right, so we got the Buddy 50 pretty much where we want it. I'll give you guys a quick rundown of this bike. This is a horizontal, I don't really want to call it Minarelli because it's not. So this is a Taiwanese motor, Taiwan bike. They're extremely, extremely good quality bikes. They respond extremely well to big bore kits. The motor is a short case, horizontal, air cooled. It's not a Zuma type, it's not a Minarelli. It does share some same parts. Your intake's different, your gears are different, your belt's different. A lot of things are different, but there's a lot of cool parts for this bike. So this one's a stock cylinder. We did an NCY pipe on it. And then on the front end, we did the full NCY suspension, as we showed you guys. Our billet sliders, the big rotor. We did the caliper, and we went with the whole naked bar setup as well. And went with NCY's little panel guard or whatever you call this. It looks like a cage to me. So rear passenger pegs, but you can use them if you're sitting on the bike as well. It's got a rear rack in the Blackout Kit. And the Blackout Kit comes with the trim here that's black. It comes with the headlight bezel that's black as well, which I don't have on the bike, of course. These guys are black instead of silver. These are typically going to come black as well. So bunch of little black pieces to get rid of the chrome and make it look better. But I'm pretty stoked about how the rack turned out, how this turned out, which was really nice. If you want to stunt this bike, I don't know why anybody would do such a thing as riding wheelies or stunting, because that's really dangerous. But if you did, if you lay this bike down, you're not going to mess up any of these fairings at all. This bar wraps and really protects this whole entire back half of this bike. Your taillight's protected. Your rack is going to protect the back end of this bike as well, because here's your angle. So this bike is actually probably has more parts available readily in the USA as far as not motor parts per se, but fairing parts and add-on parts. It's got a sweet factory glove box little cubby here. It has an extra piece you put in here that has a cup holder with another little cubby that's an add-on. It's pretty cheap too. I've got that guy coming. You get your cigarette lighter thing here, which I don't think people even smoke anymore, but that's what they're called anyway. So you've got your socket here, and you do have a good amount of decent seat storage as well for a helmet or whatever you want to put in there. So this bike, the Blackout Kit, again, also came with this piece. And what's cool about this, I showed you guys, when you do the naked bar setup like this, all you have to do, it has a factory harness already ready to go. You just take the wires and you move them and you plug them right into the head to these to make them your blinkers. So pretty sweet. The only thing we have left to do as far as aesthetics on this bike is add the blackout pieces for the back blinkers, and then we need to do a headlight. If you want to find a used one, I paid $700 for this guy, okay, and it's really clean title. I'd say all in all, to do all this stuff with this bike is probably no more than about 4 hours to do the front end, the brakes, the naked bars, the fairing pieces, the pipe, the variator. Maybe 4 hours or something. They're very lightweight, they're very comfortable, they're really high quality, and the best part is you can go down to the dealership and you can buy them brand new right now. We're gonna make these things rad, and we're gonna stunt them, and we're gonna ride them, and we're gonna start making a bunch of cool parts for these bikes in-house right here. I'm gonna make them right here. This bike to me feels like a Honda Elite. The stance, kind of the steering, everything, how this bike feels, it feels a lot like a Honda Elite. Honda Elite, and then kind of like Yamaha Beano a little bit too. So really great feeling bikes, super comfortable, really good quality, lightweight, tons of parts for them. So check them out, look local, they're easy to find, and get one and build it. Have a good day, guys. If you got any questions, post down below and get you answered.